Hello everybody, welcome today to your Bike Race Levels guide and tutorial. I'm going to skip through this part really quickly. Hopefully you already know what the buttons around the side mean. But up at the top here we have the move button. What I use are the keyboard shortcuts so you don't have to keep going in and out to click these buttons. So you have M for move, S for select, L for line, C for circle, R for radius, F for flag, delete for delete, Control Z for undo, and Control Shift Z for redo. During the rest of the tutorial, that's what I'm going to be using, so if you don't see me clicking these buttons, just know I'm using the keyboard shortcuts. So to begin with, you can start a line anywhere you want, or a C for a circle if you want to start the level this way. Whichever you do, once you've begun creating the level, always try to make sure you line up your bike on the line. And what I mean by on the line, since some people don't seem to know if they should line it up along the bottom or the top of the thickness of the line, if you click on the line and you click I on your keyboard, it'll invert the line, and you can actually see which part of the line you ride on. You can already tell, though, because it's this blue shaded side. The rest of the line is just for looks, and it does not impact where your bike rides. So, for example, this will work just fine, and it'll ride on the blue part of the line, not the maroon part. If I invert the line now, you'll see still rides on the blue part of the line. Next is when you connect lines. I just pressed L to go to the line. If I try to create a line from right here, make sure that you zoom in enough that you get the beginning point where you want it to be. So I can zoom all the way in, click right here, not there, click right there, and then scroll on your mouse without clicking anything else. You don't have to hold down the click button, and you can move it wherever you want. If you want a line at either 0 or 45 degrees, you can hold Shift on your keyboard and it'll lock in. There we go. And now say if I want a line going up at any angle, say coming up this way, but you want it to be rounded, you can press R to create a radius. So click where your 2 points connect. You can create your radius this way. Click again to end the radius. And you can do this for both inside and outside lines. So here's an outside radius. Here's an outside radius, and this actually creates a very good example. And then an internal radius. Sometimes when you create the radii like that, the line will invert itself. So press S to select. And if you hold Shift, you can actually select multiple lines, like this. Or you can click and drag on your keyboard and select them all. Press I to invert them all at the same time. Now, as you're playing your level, you can press, when you're in the editor mode like this, press the spacebar, and it'll bring you into ready to play. So, make sure you do this a lot. You should spend at least as much time playing your level as you do it, creating it. You gotta try to figure out how people are going to play. Also, try not to do things like this because as you zoom out and you get your screenshots and on phones and tablets, this is going to look much worse. Never assume anything is going to look better. Always assume it'll look worse. You can try to get your lines to line up as well as you can. A lot of the time they'll actually snap in when they get close enough, like you see that one moves. A lot of the time it's smart enough to do it by itself. Alright, so this next part isn't very important, but just so you know, when you make a circle or a line, say for a circle first, once you start creating the radius, if you go clockwise, the line is going to be on the inside, and if you go counterclockwise, it's going to be on the outside. Either way, like I said before, it doesn't really matter because your bike is only going to ride on this blue part. Same thing with the line. If you go from left to right, the part you ride on will be on top, and if you go from right to left, it'll be on the bottom. Down at the bottom right here, you'll see that you start with 800 boards. A board is just a line of up to infinite length, or a radius, which is actually just made up out of line segments. So you can see this arc right here is actually just made up out of 12 individual lines. Some levels, like this one, one of the oldest levels I've made, has many lines. I've used up all 800. On Android devices, this level seems to lag considerably, so keep that in mind when you're trying to make a fancy level. Speaking of fancy RT creative levels, this is not a creative level at all. Artistic wise, sure, it looks fine, but nobody wants to play a level like this. Here's another example. This is not a fun one to play, although it looks kind of nice. Ultimately, not very creative. If you're going to make a creative level, make it so that you actually play it, something that looks good while you're playing. Here's one more example. And please, never do anything like this. Nobody wants to fall for 2 seconds before starting the level. That's lost time that cannot be improved upon. Nobody wants to have to go straight for 10 seconds. There's just nowhere to save time on levels like this. That's not fun. You should at least, if you want to do anything crazy, at least be a little creative with it. Try something. Actually, maybe like this to end your level. Actually make people have to try for it. Do a specific style jump, something. Take control of the level, make sure you know how you want people to play it, but don't be afraid to leave shortcuts like this also. Every level should have maybe 1 to 3 shortcuts, and an average good level should be between 8 to 18 seconds. You can go longer, but that's up to you. Just remember, nobody's going to play a 35-second level multiple times. So that's all. That should be everything you need to know. Now get out there, start making levels, and uploading them to BikeRaceLevels.com. Thanks for watching.